So it looked like Angel Reese is back in the headlines after another unrivaled basketball game.
Did you see what Angel Reese just did in her unrivaled league game? She froze out Lexie Hull standing wide open under the basket, a decision that perfectly highlights the concerning issues in her game. Right now, Chicago Sky fans should be hitting the panic button in today's video. We're breaking down exactly why Reese's performance is raising serious red flags, from her court awareness to her decision-making and teamwork. We'll analyze how these problems are affecting her development and why her teammates might already be feeling the effects of her me-first mentality on the court.
No, we're not going to keep creating this false narrative that content creators is picking on Angel Reese, because Angel Reese does it to herself, and she never ceases to amaze me.
Did you see that moment when Lexie Hull was standing completely alone under the basket, arms up, ready for an easy bucket? It's the kind of play that makes you yell at your screen, the perfect opportunity for Angel Reese to make a simple fundamental basketball play. But what happened next is honestly shocking.
And how one performance, and most importantly, one particular play, should send a shiver of fear, should frighten the hell out of Chicago Sky fans everywhere, because it's something, frankly, Sky fans saw a lot of.
Let me break down this critical possession for you, Rose. BC needed points and had the perfect set of Hull, made a brilliant cut to the basket, finding herself with absolutely no defenders around her. I mean, completely alone, the kind of position where players are already celebrating the 2 points before the ball even arrives.
And that's the fact that when Angel Reese gets the ball in her hands anywhere close to the basket, she will not give the ball up. It's selfish basketball. It's a lack of awareness. And this might be the most egregious case of it.
But here's where it gets mind-boggling. Angel Reese with the ball in her hands, and a clear view of Hull standing there with her arms raised, just ignored her. Instead of making the obvious pass, Reese literally turned her back on her wide-open teammate. She forced up her own contested shot with defenders all over her, and predictably she missed it completely.
All right, now let's look at it one more time. Hold on. Pass it in to Angel. Look at this, folks. That's Lexie Hull right there. Right there. Wide ass open. Does she get the ball? Let's. I mean, what are you doing?
This isn't just a random bad decision in the heat of the moment. This is basketball tunnel vision. At its worst, it's like Reese has blinders on. Once she gets the ball in her hands, the court shrinks to just her in the basket, and her teammates might as well be invisible.
One more time. Full speed. Here we go. In. Touch back into the lane. Wide open under the basket for the shot. Angel not only did not pass the ball back out to Lexie Hull, but she missed another frick.
The numbers from this game tell an even bigger story. Reese finished shooting just 4 out of 10 from the field. And those misses weren't from difficult shots. We're talking about basic finger rolls and close range attempts, the exact same finishing issues she struggled with throughout last season with the Chicago Sky. These are shots a professional basketball players should be making consistently.
I can't believe that. I mean, Lexie Hull couldn't be more wide open there with nobody around. Just a little lay-in, ball comes into her, little lay-in, Angel gets an assist and plays good, sound basketball. Never happened.
Think about what this does to team chemistry. Imagine being Lexie Hull in that moment. You've done everything right. You created space. You're wide open, calling for the ball, ready to help your team, and your teammate won't even look at you. How does that affect your energy on the next offensive possession? How does it impact your willingness to make those cuts on future plays?
I mean, Lexie Hull, she starved to death. Right there, wide open. By the way, Lexie Hull, 1 of 9 from the field. She couldn't hit shit either. But, I couldn't find any blatant instances of her being downright selfish as F.
As F, what we're witnessing here is basketball selfishness that hurts everyone involved. It hurts Hull, who doesn't get the easy bucket she created. It hurts the team that misses out on almost guaranteed points. And ultimately, it hurts Reese herself, whose inefficiency around the rim becomes magnified when she's forcing shots instead of taking what the defense gives her.
I don't care that Lexie Hull was cold from the field. She didn't do well in this game either. But no thanks to Angel Reese, they certainly lost points on this possession.
That selfish play was just a symptom of a much bigger issue that exploded in the second half. How does a professional basketball player go from posting a near double-double before halftime to contributing absolutely 0 points? After the break, the answer reveals everything about why Chicago Sky fans should be hitting the panic button right now.
Article goes on to say Rose BC was on a 5-game winning streak, and another propelled them to a playoff spot. Star trio Chelsea Gray, Lexie Hull, and Angel Reese surely had the win in sight, but the performance only has come from one. The Chi-Town Barbie performance was a far cry from dominant 2020 she had just had days ago.
Let's look at those first half numbers again. 8 points and 10 rebounds in just 13 minutes. That's actually impressive production. Any coach would be thrilled with that kind of efficiency. You'd expect Reese to come out of the locker room ready to dominate and help her team secure a win.
Oh, her game yesterday. My God. Right here, 71-62, a loss. And her game was ugly. Real ugly. 4 of 10 from the field, so we're back to that. Can't shoot from the field at all. We're back to not making layups.
Instead, we witness one of the most dramatic disappearing acts in recent memory. 0 points. Not a single bucket. Not even a free throw. It's like someone flipped a switch, and the player was grabbing boards and scoring. The first half just vanished.
It was bad. It really was. And she got completely, and guys, she got completely shut out in the second half of this game. All right? Not involved at all.
And here's where things get really concerning. Reese picked up 4 personal fouls in the second half. That's not just bad luck. That's a clear sign of defensive frustration and lack of discipline. When a player starts racking up fouls like that, it forces them to play more passively on defense or forces the coach to bench them entirely. Either way, their impact on the game plummets.
So this is what happened. At halftime, Angel Reese had 8 points, 10 rebounds in 13 minutes. She shot 4 of 9 from the field, including 0 for 1 from beyond the arc, 0 of 1 from the free throw range. She had 2 turnovers.
While Reese was busy collecting fouls and contributing nothing on offense, Chelsea Gray was putting on an absolute clinic on the other side. 38 points. That's what a true competitor does. Steps up when the lights are brightest. Gray wasn't just scoring. She was leading, creating opportunities, and willing her team to victory.
I mean, Chelsea Gray out there was fighting for her life. Scored 38 points. 38 damn points, okay?
Contrast couldn't be more dramatic. One player rises to the challenge, takes responsibility, and elevates everyone around her. The other shrinks from the moment, becomes a liability, and leaves her teammates hanging when they need her most.
To save the troubles, Captain Chelsea Gray stepped up big time. She ended the night with 38 points out of the team 62 and 8 rebounds. That's why a fan added, poor Chelsea. She's really doing all she had to do to save her.
What's particularly troubling is that this wasn't just Reese having an off shooting night. This wasn't about missed shots or tough defense. This was a complete surrender. When things got difficult, when the fouls started piling up, she had no plan B, no way to adjust her game to remain effective while playing with foul trouble.
The 2-year-old failed to add any points in the second half and ended with 13 boards. By the way, she also got herself in foul trouble, 4 personal.
Elite players find ways to impact the game even when their primary skills are neutralized. If scoring isn't working, they create for others. If they can't be aggressive on defense, they focus on positioning. And rebounding, Reese did none of that. When her initial approach failed, she had nothing else to offer.
You're not going to be able to believe this. The lack of awareness here as to what to do with the ball and the selfishness is, it's appalling, frankly. If you're a hoops fan, if you're a basketball fan, and you watch this, I don't give a shit if you are an Angel Reese fan. You can't tell me this is not egregious.
Imagine being one of Reese's teammates. You see her grab 10 rebounds before halftime and think great she's going to carry that energy into the second half, then nothing, complete abandonment. When the going gets tough, how does that affect team chemistry? How do you trust someone who disappears exactly when you need them most?
I know people feel a certain type of way about Angel. It is what it is. But Angel have to do better with controlling the narrative, because what she's doing is making it worse, adding fuel to the fire. And she does this like every damn week, adding fuel to the fire.
That team chemistry issue we just discussed is not an isolated incident. Marina Emery wanting out of Chicago wasn't some random career move. It was a direct response to exactly what we're seeing now when a talented perimeter shooter like Emery suddenly wants to leave a promising team. You have to ask why. And now the answer is staring us right in the face.
We saw her all year last year. Chicago Sky, rebound after rebound after rebound. Perimeter shooters, just Kennedy Carter over there on life support. Nobody's getting the ball thrown back out. No wonder Marina Mayberry wanted out of town. Because once that ball got in Angel Reese's hands, everybody else on the team going to starve to death.
Remember how Reese handled possessions with the Sky perimeter shooters would get completely ignored game after game, possession after possession. These weren't just occasional mistakes. This was a systematic problem where teammates felt starved for opportunities. Whenever Reese touched the ball, the pattern has simply transferred from Chicago to Rose, BC, without missing a beat.
The Unrivaled League has been going up and down with its viewership. Some people have been tuning in and watching it. Some people haven't been tuning in and watching it. But one thing I can say is Angel keeping it entertaining, man, with the antics. Now, there has been rappers and celebrities pulling up, showing support to this basketball league, trying to help it get off the ground. And it seemed like the support is just not enough.
What's truly troubling is how Reese's priorities seem completely misaligned with what her team needs while her teammates were battling it out on the court. What was Reese's focus before and after this game, a game where her team desperately needed her contribution? She was busy taking photos with rappers and producers, building her brand instead of building team chemistry.
I've said before, guys, I've tried to be real honest about the fact that I think Angel's more concerned about being an influencer, content creator, over being a better basketball player. And I think this might be the perfect example.
And it gets worse after the game. Reese was seen alongside rapper Gunna, and a thing about that for a second that just showed how Reese's attention was divided. Is it any wonder her performance suffered? How can you expect to maintain competitive intensity when you're treating game time like a networking opportunity?
All right, this is either before or right after the game. They got destroyed in this game, by the way. They did. This was her taking pictures, hanging out with some rappers and producers, etc. And Gunna was at the game. He got interviewed during the game.
You know, pivot.
What exactly is a classy girl?
Okay, now that sound you heard during that was your IQ